Alright, so let's see now. So let's get caught up on these. Yeah, first, yes, you are, Toys. I see that you were first tonight. And then, good evening, Mr. Walters and his fabulous chat. I hope you're all well. And I hope you're well too, ATC. And let's see. Well, according to YouTube, we had three people in here, but according to StreamYard, it only seems to be one watch. Well, now two watching. So, and of course, as always, guys, I do appreciate any and all likes and shares. Helps with the algorithms, helps get more people in here. So hopefully, everybody's had a good day today. Today being, Tuesday, October 19th. So we're like 12 days away from Halloween, which will be on a Sunday this year. Um, so how is everybody doing tonight? How did everybody's day go today? As always, we're going to wait a few minutes, let some more, see if we can get some more people to come in. Give people a chance to come in and get settled in before we get started. Just as a bit of a heads up, we I'll probably will talk a little bit about Ron Toy situation. I know that Nick talked about him a little bit last night, so we might talk about him like after we get through the news articles tonight. But as I said, I'm going to wait for everybody to get in here. Yeah. So, actually, hey, Toys, how are things going? Are you still having to get up super early? Or are you actually being allowed to sleep in a little bit before you have to go to work? Leto's here. Hey, Leto, I see you on the. Missed you last night, Leto. Hey, Mike. Hey, Toys. Hey, everything all right, man? Yesterday, we normally we're usually here early, but you weren't even here at all last night. Sorry, I wasn't here yesterday. Me and wife bought a new car for. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. I can understand that. You've been needing to do that. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, we had some interesting stories. Hey Leto from Toys, and then let's see. And then Lala did. Hello there, Leto. Tiny Chevy Spark, I think it's called. That's cool. Sweet news. Well, yeah. Now she's got her own ride, and I'm sure she's happy about that. Hey, what's up, Solid? So yeah. So hopefully everybody's had a good day today. R.I.P. Chris Ayres. What? This is news to me. What did Chris Ayres pass? I'm gonna have to look that. I'm gonna have to check on that because I mean, I knew he had been diagnosed with something. Like I think he did have some cancer. I just didn't know it progressed that badly. He died. Oh, that's sad. I'm just looking that up, Leto. That's the first I'd actually heard of it because I haven't been keeping as close tabs on the voice actors um, of late as that Saturday's Flash has was pretty good since Star Wars Girl and Aiden weren't there. But let me check on that because I was not even aware that. I mean, I was aware he had been sick for a while, but I did not know it had gotten to that point. Oh wow, yeah. It says here he died yesterday. Yeah. Fall. He died October 18th following health complications. Yeah, I had known. Yeah, okay, because I remember hearing about this part in November 2017. Ayers was diagnosed with end stage COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary, and required a double lung transplant to survive. A caring fundraiser. Yeah, that's sad that he passed on. 56 years old. That's kind of by today's standard, that is kind of on the young side. 'Cause I know he's survived by his wife and his brother Greg, who's also. Um, from everything I heard, though, he was a pretty nice guy and wasn't as involved in a lot of the baloney that's been going on the last couple of years. Yeah, he had lung problems. I think he got a. Yeah, that's what I just read that too. He had a lung transplant. I a bit of that show solid. Yeah, so yeah, all right. Well, and apparently he died yesterday because that's what the thing just said. So what we'll do right now, guys, for at least for a moment here, let's kind of give a moment to silence for Chris Ayres for him, and and just send our positive thoughts to his family and all that. So here we go with a moment of silence for voice actor Chris Ayres. All right. Anyways, I was kind of hoping he would have eventually pulled out of it and been able to go back to work, but sometimes that's just life, unfortunately. Sometimes that happens. Let's see. No, he stayed. Yeah, that's what I was saying, Leto. Chris stayed out of the drama. Chris pretty much, and I know this because I even like on before I left Twitter, I had asked him his take on it. He kind of just said, something I'd rather not get into it, and I respected that. So, um, anyways, too bad it wasn't Richard Eckhart. Yeah, well, solid. Yeah, I know. With a lot of these people who are doing bad things, yeah, it's very easy to get kind of caught up in wishing harm on them, but that's not really a good thing to do. It's always, yeah, it's always the good ones. Sean Connery passed on Halloween. Okay, a while back. Um, God always needs help up there. Yeah, that's true, Leto. Maybe God did have something has something special planned for Chris up in heaven. So that's probably the best thing. All right, so we're coming up on just past 9.5 minutes. It looks like we had 3 or 4 people in here at least. So and we already just went over. We already just talked a little bit about Chris Ayres. Um, yeah, I think even though I can't remember off the top of my head, but I believe one of the characters I remember him as was the student council president in the Full Metal Panic Fumofu, uh, you know, anime. Was kind of funny how kind of funny. Let me see if I can find that particular thing real quick. I'm just going back over some of his roles from before. Let's see. Yeah, his ADV debut was actually in Saint Seiya as Usho in the ADV dub of that. Saint Seiya was, of course, at one point also known Knights of the Zodiac. Let me see. Yeah, he would. In 2005, he would voice the role of Atsunobu Hayashimizu in Full Metal Panic, who was basically the student council president. And it was kind of funny how in that character he'd always have to kind of deflect like people's complaints about Sosuke and his behavior. um, okay, I'm going to be okay. Alert. Thank you for coming in, Toys. See, Toys laughing. I understand. We tired old men. Yeah. Um. Yeah. So let's see. Let's see. Let me see because I actually am this. I know he was the student council president for Mofu. What are some of the other roles? Um. Let's see. Yeah, he was Everloo in Fairy Tale. Oh, he didn't have as many. Well, I also know that he was aside, of course, from his work on. They don't have everything listed here because I know he also did some roles in Dragon Ball too. Oh, Dragon Ball Frieza. That was the last thing they put down here. Before they had Damian Mills replace him, he was Frieza's voice in Dragon Ball Super. So, he was also in Gintama the movie. He lent his voice to Gintama the movie. He was Frieza in Dragon Ball Super Broly. Um, Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F. So, oh yeah. So, yeah, sad thing indeed here about his passing. I said he's survived by his wife, his family, and of course his brother Greg, who is also a voice actor in Texas. There, Greg Ayers, of course. Let me see some of the roles he know, including the lead English voice role for Negima, Negi Springfield, in that. He was Dora Chet in in Full Metal Alchemist. His brother Greg. I'm talking about his brother now, of course. Anyways, how about loud? Frieza trending on Twitter now. That's nice. Yeah, you know, I'm sure you're gonna probably hear a lot of people talking about him. Probably. Well, I don't know because one, aside from being Frieza in the Dragon Ball Super, he didn't have a lot of other roles that he was like really well known for. Unless you're like you or me, Leto, where we probably watched a lot of ADV stuff. So, yeah, but um, yeah. So, anyways, moving on. We've spent a bit of time here, so coming up on 15 minutes now. So here's what's on tap for tonight, guys. I've got 8 stories to go over. We got two comics related, 6 anime related. 2 comics related stories are from comics from Bounding in the Comics, and then the anime stories are from CBR. So Yeah, that's why it's a little thing I did. Yeah. Um. So, anyways, but as we do mourn the passing of a good individual, we do have to remember that we still have to move on, move forward our lives. Um. But as you said, Leto, God probably needed him up there. So, all right. So let's get into these stories here. Got a couple stories, comics. We got 8 stories altogether. I said 2 comics related, 6 anime related. The 2 comic related stories are on Bounding. I picked up from Bounding in the Comics, and the other six anime stories that will be from CBR. Got some trailers, news there. We got a couple of profile pieces, I believe, but let's start off with these comic stories. And as always, guys, of course, I do appreciate any and all likes and shares. That can help with the algorithm. If you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here. That would really be nice and helpful. So, anyways, so let's get going here. Let's start off with this first article as soon as I get it up here. All right. Oh, look at that. Oh, man. Look at that. That guy's got to be like going, oh, man, I am dead. This big black gooey thing's about to just eradicate me. Anyways, Marvel writer David Michelin or Michelini issues apology to Todd McFarlane for dispute over creation of Venom. Article by J.B. Augustine published earlier today. Todd McFarlane, the Image Comics co-founder and force behind Spawn, is still thought of as the creator of Venom, though he was never given de jure credit by Marvel. So it's Venom, Let There Be Carnage, Sony Pictures Entertainment here. McFarlane has largely stayed out of the debate surrounding Venom's creation, but Savage Dragon co-founder and fellow creator and fellow Image founder Eric Larson has often made comments taking aim at writer David Michelini, who considers himself to be Venom's true creator and is credited as such. A lot of that is water under the bridge now, but Michelini recently saw fit to apologize to McFarlane, issuing a new statement regarding the disagreement over who really created the Spider-Man villain turned anti-hero. Wizard magazine, quote, was the first publication to print the term in smaller quotes co-creator when linking me to the Venom character, unquote, Michelini told Bleeding Cool. So here are some panels right here. Chelsea. Agent Spider-Man Volume 1, number 299, Marvel Comics. Quote, they also reprinted Eric Larson's response, which he began by calling me a clown, angrily accusing me of trying to take sole credit for Venom when Todd McFarlane was the one who really made Venom popular with his visual interpretation. Unquote. He added, quote, and on rereading those 2 letters, I realized that the cause of this seemingly endless conflict was exactly what I had thought it to be in the first place. Terminology, unquote. That terminology was specifically the use of the word quote unquote originator as opposed to quote unquote creator, which Michelini says Marvel is culpable for. Quote, in the 1980s, Marvel Comics devised their own definition of creator, in smaller quotes, stating that the first person to write a new character and the first person to draw a new character were the, in smaller quotes, creators, unquote, explained Michelini. Quote, this wasn't anyone's verdict of right or wrong, but a corporate decision made in order to facilitate the royalty payment program they were instituting, unquote. Based on his understanding, a creator is whoever comes up with an idea or what motivates a character's personality or history. And these are the qualities of Venom he refers to as his actual quote unquote character absent of his powers and design. Quote, so yes, I did say there was only one person who actually created Venom, and that was me, unquote, he admits. Quote, which by the definition I had held for some 20 years of writing comics was true, unquote. Quote, however, through the wisdom of hindsight, I can see where this might have confused readers who didn't know what I was actually referring to, unquote. Michelini said, quote, therefore, I would like to take this opportunity to apologize to Todd McFarlane if the, quote, understandable, in parentheses, understandably misinterpreted my intentions. If he, in parentheses, understandably, misinterpreted my intentions. Michelini is sticking his neck out, but he knows acknowledgement and acceptance of his apology are not guaranteed. Calling himself the quote unquote originator and the quote slinky down the staircase that got things started, unquote, he concedes, quote, the evolution of the Venom character, both visually and narratively, from the 1980s to where it is now, has obviously been a process fueled by the contributions of many, many people, unquote. He concludes, quote, I hope this might clear up a few things. Probably not, but he at least I gave it a shot. Hey, at least I gave it a shot. Yeah. So basically, I think he just in the terms of creation, yeah, you got both artist and writer are responsible. So for him to say that it's like he's basically taking credit for McFarlane's art as well as his own writing. So hopefully you're all still here. Alien Spider-Man Volume 1, number 317, The Sand and the Fury, Marvel Comics, words by David Michelini, art by Todd McFarlane. But yeah, so yeah, well, I mean, it's understandable that he could feel slighted because if he's saying that he's the sole creator of Venom, he's not just taking credit for the writing part of it, but he's taking credit for somebody else's art too. I think that's where the rub is right there. Neither Larson nor McFarlane have yet responded to Michelini's statement, though the latter did post a little oblique jab to Instagram while celebrating the box office success of Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Yeah, I mean, based on what we were reading earlier, I don't think I think Larson's really the one who more had the issue with Michelini than McFarlane did. McFarlane just kind of taking it in stride. Quote, as the visual creator of Venom, the artist wrote, quote, it is nice to see your artistic, in brackets, children doing so well. Todd McFarlane. Oh, look at that. Oh, God. That's probably scary. You don't want to be waking up with that in your face. No, 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 no. That probably give you nightmares. Venom 2 has biggest opening weekend box office of the pandemic. Venom's latest cinematic outing, Venom Let There Be Carnage, is now in theaters and was just released in the UK last weekend. What do you make of Michelini's apology? Let us know your thought. Well, I mean, he's trying, but it might be considered a little like too little, too late, for some people. But yeah, but I mean, when you start taking credit for somebody else's art, that's usually going to get people upset pretty quickly. Anyways, moving on to the next. So let's see. Breaking news: Superman, son of Kal-El, colorist, said he hates the new Superman and exits DC. What a time to be alive. Yeah, well, Leto, we're actually about to hit that very article right now. That's the next article here we're going to be going through and giving commentary on. There's looks like the Flash there. All right. So yeah, here is in fact the title, the headline of the article here. Superman, son of Kal-El colorist Gabe Eltabe, to exit DC Comics over Superman motto change. Quote, I'm tired of them ruining these characters, unquote. So I guess the colorist wasn't too fond of the idea of them taking out the American. That was something we read yesterday. The article we read yesterday, Leto, in that they have officially announced that they're taking out the American way as part of Superman's, catchphrase. Truth, justice, American way. Now they're changing it to truth, justice, and a better tomorrow or a better world. So they're basically, but yeah, that's what we're talking about here. Article by Spencer Piccoli, published earlier today. After learning of DC Comics' recent decision to drop, quote, in smaller quotes, the American way from Superman's classic motto, Superman, son of Kal-El colorist Gabe Eltabe, has announced that he will not seek to renew his contract with the publisher in protest of, quote unquote, them ruining these characters. That's the new catchphrase they're trying to, again, pushing more the whole one world order agenda. Okay. Appearing on an October 13th, which was last Wednesday, I believe, YouTube live stream hosted by Cyber Frog creator Ethan Van Sciver, himself a former contracted DC employee, Eltabe revealed to the audience, quote, I'm finishing out my contract with DC. I'm tired of this bleep. I'm tired of them ruining these characters. They don't have a right to do this, unquote. Well, as much as I hate to say it, I have to technically disagree because technically, um, from a legal standpoint, they actually do own the character, unfortunately. So, or at least modern the modern incarnation of it. So technically, yes, they actually, you know, they unfortunately do have the right with it. It's still screwy, you know, but um quote, at Comic Con in 2009, I was pushing Jerry Robinson's wheelchair around, unquote. The prominent DC colorist recalled, quote, that's the man who invented the Joker. I would work the DC booth back then. I remember bending down to his face and telling him, thank you for creating these characters so people like me can waltz in and get a job. It's not about gay or anything else, unquote. And I guess this is a screenshot of the um of the YouTube stream they're talking about here. Turning to the specific subject of Superman's motto change, Tabe asserted that, quote, what really peed me off was saying truth, justice, and a better world. Bleep that it was truth, justice, and the American way, unquote. Quote, my grandpa almost died in World War II. We don't have a right to destroy bleep that people died for to give us, unquote. He continued, quote, it's a bunch of bleeping nonsense, unquote. Yeah, these people want to destroy America from within. He added, quote, they call us bigots and racist and bleep. I would ask them, find me in the bleeping mainstream, not on the fringes. One bleeping book, one bleeping t shirt, one movie that says that leftism is bad and conservative is good. Find it for me. They bleeping won't. They're not letting people have a voice. They're the bleeping bigots. Unquote. Quote, quote unquote, sorry, he concluded his rant. Quote, that's been bottled up for 5 years, unquote. And I'm sure Evie, I'm sure Ethan and the rest of them were pretty sympathetic to his feelings. They probably they probably echoed the sentiment. I'm sure many people, since it was announced that they were dropping the American way, we you know those who were here yesterday, we read one of the articles about Dean Cain even making comments about that. That well, he was talking more about the gay aspect of it, but oh, and I didn't even see this, but yeah, let me see this quote real quick from Leto. Also today, I watched Superman and Lois show first episode, and it's really good. Yeah, I've heard that this latest edition of it, they're not like pulling the garbage they did. They're not pulling the same garbage that other shows have been pulling. They may not be. That's from what I've been hearing. So, um, anyways, and that's just a reminder. If you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, that'd be very appreciated. So, anyways, let's continue on with the story. Let's see. We just read that, so scroll down a little bit more here. Superman, Son of Kal-El, volume. That's where this panel from. The Truth Part 1, DC Comics, by Tom Taylor, and art by John Timms and Gabe Eltabe. Of course, Eltabe is a colorist. So it's kind of funny because one of the other stories we were reading yesterday, too, is how um, there's a rumor that DC is possibly blacklisting those creators who basically will do work with anybody associated with Comicsgate. So let me see here. Speaking to L-Tabe's appearance on his channel, Van Sciver recalled, quote, Gabe just exploded on my live stream. He had a lot to say, a lot of feelings, and a lot of thoughts that he wasn't able to share because he was working for DC Comics, unquote. Uh, quote, and that's the reality, unquote, he continued. Quote, you cannot come out and be a conservative and criticize the company that you work for in this way. You have to be completely supportive of the corporate agenda, whatever it is, unquote. And that's possibly one of the reasons why a lot of people are saying that DC is going to probably be gone in like 2 or 3 years, or more or less what they're going to be is they're going to basically be a brand licensor where they're just going to like license out their properties to other people to do with as so quote and okay. Um, quote, you have to keep your negative or critical opinions to yourself, and it's so liberating to be able to not work for DC Comics, be able to say exactly what you think, unquote. I think in that's part of the statement right there, Ethan's talking about himself, because he, of course, used to work for DC, no longer works for them, and his own creator. He concluded, quote, and I think that's what Gabe is going through here, unquote. Which is, I guess, why he basically said he's gonna just finish out his contract and be done with him. And then here's from number Superman, Son of Kal, Volume 1, Number 3, The Truth Part 2. And we get all that. What do you make of L-Tabe's intent to leave DC? Let us know your thoughts on social media or in the I believe it's kind of like what Dan Bongino did yesterday. Yeah, because I kind of saw this earlier. Dan Bongino, who does his own little, his show podcast. He has also got a radio statement, and he had said that he would be willing to give up his radio show, unless you know the you know unless the company that licenses it for him, you know, does reverses course on their vaccine mandate, because the company that licenses his show, that syndicates his show, um, they recently implemented a vaccine mandate, and he, of course, not supportive of it. You know, and he's not just he talked about not giving lip service to it, actually doing something about it. And it sounds like that's what Gabe did here. He didn't just give lip service to what was going on. He's actually doing something about it. So standing on principle there. Anyway, so let's see where we're all at here. Yeah, we're at 37 minutes, 30, actually 39 minutes. So yeah, has a good budget. Yep. All right. So we got 3 people now. So that's good. All right. So, anyways, let me just let's move on to next set of stories here. We're now going to get into more of the anime. Oh yeah, and they even put it up here. His passing here. This was just added. So, and normally I go from the furthest down to, but we'll read over this real quick, even though we did talk about it a little bit earlier. Um, Christopher Ayres, Dragon Ball's Frieza is the English voice of Frieza, or Dragon Ball Z, anyway. Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super's Frieza dies at 56. Voice actor Christopher Ayres, known for his role as Frieza in the Dragon Ball franchise, passed away at the age of 56. And article by Noah Dominguez, published 38 minutes ago. So here we go. Voice actor Christopher Ayres, known for his role as Frieza in the Dragon Ball, and in the latter portion of the franchise, by the way, passed away yesterday, October 18th. He was 56 years old. Ayres' girlfriend, fellow voice actor Crystal Laporte, confirmed. Okay, so I thought he was actually married, but I guess this is saying confirmed his passing in a post to Twitter today, sharing a message as well as a number of photos of the two. So, yeah, look at that last one right there. Actually, looked pretty good there, but Kelly's a little ragged. And I'll get to the other anime stories too once we get through this. So we cover it. Well, yeah. Okay, so I won't. I'll just kind of scroll down a little bit more. Let's see. All right. So this is I guess her tweet. What she said on October 18th at 8:40 p.m., which was um my world went dark. Um, so 8:40 p.m. probably Texas time, which would have been six. So it would have been just before my show even started last night. But my world went dark. Christopher Owen Ayres passed away peacefully, held close by his mother, brother, and girlfriend. His brother, of course, being Greg Ayres, for those who may not know, we talked about that earlier. And his arm wrapped around his Atticus pillow. He was able to pet the real thing hours before. His hands were held, his face was kissed. We played Jim Croce, the Charlie Chaplin musical, and one hand stayed on my waist as I held the other while Unchained Melody played. The song we knew would be the first dance at our wedding. His mother and brother told stories of his childhood as he left. I've never been alive in a world where Chris wasn't. I am scared of it. So much of humanity's kindness, compassion, gentleness, bravery, generosity, and integrity were concentrated in one man. Everything feels so much colder. Chris loved you all. How much he loved other people filled the vast majority of our conversations. To those of you who truly loved him back, thank you. To those of you who stayed in touch, checked on him, and I know Vic did. If you guys remember, I think we saw even a video of one of the panels Vic did where he actually called Chris, you know, a while back there. Um, Reminded him that he was so much more than his job. You were the fuel of his fight. You fed the dreams of a future that kept him going longer than any normal person could go. Chris, I miss your face. I miss your voice. I miss your hugs, and I cannot even begin to comprehend that I will never walk in a doorway again and hear, "Hey, beautiful girl." I miss being your girl. I miss you. I was always one half of Crystal and Chris. I don't want to be Crystal, but I will do my damnedest to try and see what you saw in me and try to be what the world saw in you. And Crystal, to her credit, she never got involved in any of this. As far as I know, I don't think she ever got involved in any of the garbage that's been going on the last couple of years either. So I hope that whatever wherever you are, the first thing you did was take a long, deep breath with your perfect lungs and danced again. I hope you saw a lot of people and animals that I know you miss so deeply. I hope it has all of the horror movies, lots of blackened shrimp and candy, and a giant Doctor Who store. I knew a lot of people I know a lot of people reading this will ask, quote, "Is there anything I can do?" unquote. Quote unquote. Please be more like Chris. Please, if you learned anything from him, put it in this world. It needs him. Please fill it with love and laughter always. And quote, when he shall die, take him and cut him out in little stars, and he will make the face of heaven so fine that all the world will be in love with night and pay no worship to the garish sun. So that was, I guess, that was a tweet or a post on one of her on Crystal Laporte is a currently she's a voice actress with Sentai Filmworks, Seraphim Digital Sounds in Houston. So we'll get through the rest of this article here. Ayers was born on May 16th, 1965, which, as we said, made him 56 years old, in Richmond, Virginia. He began his voice acting career in 2003, getting his start as an extra in the ADV dub of Kino's Journey. He went on to lend his voice to countless anime series over the years, including Saint Seiya, Mesa, DSA, Gantz, Speedgrapher, Fairy Tale, Black Butler, and Penny in Stalking with Garterbelt, among many others. That said, Ayers is perhaps best known for his role as iconic Dragon Ball villain Frieza, whom he voiced in the anime series Dragon Ball Z Kai and Dragon Ball Super, as well as in the anime films Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F and Dragon Ball Super Broly. He also voiced Frieza in the Dragon Ball series of video games from 2010 to 2018. His other film work includes Gintama, the movie, and Zengoku Basara, The Last Party, while his other video game work includes The Last Remnant. Chris has battled health issues over the years, having undergone a double lung transplant after being diagnosed with end-stage chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder (COPD) back in 2017. He's survived by his girlfriend Crystal Laporte, as well as his mother and brother. And again, I remind everybody, his brother, of course, is Greg Ayers, another voice actor with in the out of Texas for Funimation and formerly ADV and now, of course, Sentai. Um, so with that, and we've already talked about a lot of that earlier. So sounds to me like they knew ahead of time he was going to pass or it was going that way. Well, yeah, I think. Well, one of the things they said right there too is that it was end stage COPD. end stage usually indicates that it's terminal. I didn't even really even know that. I had heard about the lung transplant. I knew he had some major issues, but I just thought he would have eventually pulled out of it. Um, but I didn't know it was end stage. What? You know, the one thing that I would hope, in honor of the way Chris was, and basically following on what Crystal has said, if Vic should decide to go to the funeral to pay his respects, I'm hoping that everybody involved can just set aside a lot of the BS and just be there to just celebrate Chris's life. You know, I hope that Vic is able to go there and be able to pay his respects to Chris, because I know he was, he was a good, he obviously was a good friend of Chris's. I'm just hoping, like, I know that even though Chris and Vic, from everything I had heard and seen, um, Chris and Vic were on good terms. However, Greg was not necessarily on good terms with Vic, Chris's brother, Greg Ayers, partly due to the fact that, you know, Greg's lifestyle choices, but that's again neither here nor there. What I'm just hoping for is that if Vic should, decide to go to pay his respect, that everybody involved in the BS the last couple of years can set that aside to celebrate, you know, Chris's life and just honor what Crystal has asked. So let me catch some of these other chats here, and then we'll move on to the remaining articles here. Hospital called my family to let me know it was gonna happen today, so I visited my father and saw him pass. I played his fave CD of Johnny Cash and Hank Williams, and I felt like he went peacefully. So Leto, okay, that all right. So your dad passed today too. I hope his family will be okay. Yeah. As I said, Leto, I just hope that Greg can just not get into it with Vic, and just if Vic decides to go there to pay his respects. So that's what I would say. But I want to also, I want to also, this happened a couple years ago, so I know how it felt. Oh, okay. You were just relating a similar experience, then. I thought you were saying that happened today, and if that was the case, I was well. I know it's albeit belated. My condolences, my friend. All right. So, granted, I didn't know you 2 years ago. I don't think so. But my condolences to you. But anyway, so let's go ahead and move on to the set of articles we were going to do. I did that one. Normally, I would have gone down to the first, the earliest one. But since we were already talking about the Christian, anyways, that's why I just went with that. Okay. And one of the articles that I was going to do is gone anyway, so not really much I can do about it unless there's a way for me to show the pages, which I don't think there is apparently. Nope. Okay. So one of the other articles that I was going to do is unavailable. Okay. All right. So here's the next one. This is gonna probably be a little bit more of a happier one here. All right. So, anyways, let's get to this. 5 anime sidekicks who are better than the main character. Some anime characters are underrated, but sidekicks from the likes of Pokemon and FMA overshadow the main protagonists of their respective shows. Article by Chase Wilkinson, published 13 hours ago, which is true. So let's see who they're talking about, though. Okay. Every anime has its fan favorites, and most of them are the titular or main characters. But there are some exceptions to that statement. Sidekicks, usually only referred to as supporting characters, often step aside and let the main character hog the spotlight, either because their role within the series is relatively small, they're killed off early on, or their minor appearances are simply overlooked in favor of the permanently present characters. Here are some anime sidekicks that are arguably better than the main characters of their respective franchises, and who are deserving way more recognition than they get. The Helpful Fox, Senko-san Shiro. Kind of an interesting pose right there. The Helpful Fox, Senko-san, follows Kuroto Nakano, who is perpetually stressed out by his job. Still, since he lives alone, he must find ways to sustain himself. Little do humans like Kuroto know that this stress takes the form of darkness that resides within human bodies and spreads at an alarming rate. Fox deities can see this darkness and are tasked with ridding the humans of it before it's too late. To help rid Kuroto of his stress, Senko-san, an 800-year-old kitsune, volunteers to take care of him and will do everything she can to ease the tension in his word. Man, don't you? That's just lovely. I would love somebody like that coming to my life. That sounds kind of nice. While Senko-san and Kuroto are the narrative focus, Shiro, another Fox demigod, is introduced in later episodes. She's approximately 300 years younger and more immature than Senko, as well as initially arrogant when first introduced. She also has more unpredictable and rebellious personality, um, and believes that Kuroto should be her servant and worship kitsunes. Her presence within the Helpful Fox Senko-san is not only widely understood and extremely entertaining, but she also has um, the most notable character development, which is always nice to see. So you got a naughty little fox who wants people to bow down to her instead of her helping others. Let's see. Let's see if anybody's saying anything right now. All right. Nothing new being said thus far. And I do appreciate any and all likes and share. Guys can help out with that. That'd be appreciated. Continuing on here. Full Metal Alchemist, Riza Hawkeye. Look at that look. You don't want to. You don't want to be. You don't want to have her aiming a gun at you. Full Metal Alchemist revolves around Edward Elric, a young and brilliant alchemist who has suffered great loss in his 12-year life. When he and his brother Alphonse tried to resurrect their dead mother through the forbidden art of human transmutation, Edward loses his brother's body, as well as two of his own limbs. A year later, Edward, now promoted to a state alchemist, embarks on a journey with his younger brother to obtain the Philosopher's Stone. Lieutenant Riza Hawkeye is an officer in the Amestrian state military, as well as the personal adjutant bodyguard of Colonel Roy Mustang. Having known Roy since his youthful days as her father's apprentice alchemist and throughout his entire military career, the course of Riza's life seems to bend to suit his. Her character shows a mix between a tortured woman looking for redemption and a resigned acceptance of past mistakes and their consequences. She is not only brilliantly complex, but also an iconic representation of female empowerment. Yeah, I would have to agree with that. And she's not pulling any of the like Me Too crap or anything like that. Pokemon Pikachu. Yeah, this is an obvious one right here. Easily the most universally identifiable anime of all time. The Pokemon franchise features Ash Ketchum, a new trainer from Pallet Town, who aims to become a Pokemon champion and travels with his Pokemon Pikachu. Together, they journey across the land, training and battling as equals. Pikachu was the first Pokemon partnered with Ash and has since proven himself to be ferocious and loyal. His absolute devotion to his best friend and trainer has also produced some of the most heartwarming and heart-wrenching moments in anime history. Yes, I can still remember the scene from Pokemon the movie, the first movie, um, about with Mewtwo. That was one of those. While Ash is a central protagonist, um, he would be nothing without his faithful partner, with whom he is an unbreakable bond. So, Beastars Haru, a little bunny rabbit there. Set in a high school where the students are literally divided into predators and prey, Beastars follows Legoshi, a large wolf who becomes a prime suspect in a tragic murder that took place at Cherryton Academy, where an herbivore student was killed and eaten. This is further complicated by his supposedly romantic feelings toward a herbivore, which might not be what they seem. The herbivore is none other than Haru, a dwarf rabbit. Haru is the only member of the Cherryton Gardening Club and is generally excluded from school due to her sexual promiscuity. She is regularly treated as a fragile individual by society, but longs to be seen as her own personal person rather than someone small and in need of protection. Cherryton Academy collectively labels Haru as a slut. Oh, that's nice. Japanese manga artist Paru Itagaki mentioned Haru's character in chapter 25 of the Beastars manga, um, saying, quote, I feel that Haru is a character that has many traits that are akin to women, um, both good and bad. But that isn't where her character truly shines. Her true defining trait is that she's always willing to be true to herself. Unquote. If that poetic description doesn't shine a light on Haru's importance, especially regarding representation of strong female characters, perhaps nothing does. Let's see if you guys are saying anything yet. Still pretty quiet. We're just past the hour mark here. Kakegurui Runa Yomozuki. Kakegurui is a gambling one that I think I've talked about before. So, Kakegurui takes place at Hyakao Private Academy, which prepares students for their time in the real world. Many of the students are the children of the richest people in the country. The academy has certain quirks that separate it from all others. At night, it turns into a gambling den. Yumeko Jabami, a beautiful and seemingly naive student, a transfer student, is ready to try her hand at Hayakao's special curriculum. Unlike the rest, she doesn't play to win, but for the thrill of the gamble. Runa Yomozuki is a supporting character in the series. She is the leader of the election committee and serves as a referee during election gambling matches. Despite looking friendly and innocent, Runa poses a streak of cruelty and tends to get bored very easily, which may indicate sociopathic tendencies. She is described as a mischievous egotist, which automatically makes her endlessly interesting and volatile. Qualities that often go against the stereotypes of female characters and their purpose within media. A little spoiler here for you guys. Kakegurui is filled with sociopathic characters. It is probably one of the most sociopathic series ever made. It's just completely filled with just utter sociopaths. All right, so let's see now. Where are we at now? Say no. I got 3 people watching. We go. I think we keep going back and forth between 3 and 4 people watching. I think, or 2 and 3 people. But anyways, just listening to the story is okay. I know I've seen it. It's a weird anime concept of an idea. Well, yeah, gambling. I mean, there have been a few others too. You know, I know there's at least one other that I watched a couple. You know, that one and another one a while back. You know, that have to do with gambling, casinos, and all that. But, yeah, I mean. But yeah, as I said, Kakegurui is a pretty sociopathic anime to begin with. So yeah. So anyways, let's get ready. Let's move on to the next article then. Here, do it. Oh, here we go. Here's another one. I guess I should probably start going a little faster because we're already past the hour coming on hour 10 right now. So all right. So here's the next article we're going to look at. Mob Psycho 100 announces season 3 with mind-bending trailer. Warner Brothers Japan and animation studio Bones confirmed that Mob Psycho 100 will return for a third season with a new teaser trailer. Article by Michael Lacerna, published 13 hours ago. So here we go. Mob Psycho 100's third season has been confirmed with the release of a new teaser trailer. The new trailer, which was posted to the series' official Twitter account, features clips of various characters from throughout the series, calling out for Mob, who is shown briefly losing control of his powers. The trailer ends with the notice, "Third season coming soon," quote unquote. The show's producers have already confirmed that the voice cast from previous seasons will return, including Setsuo Ito as Mob from Final Fantasy VII's remake. Takahiro Sakurai as Reagan, and Metal Gear Solid's Akio Otsuka as Akubo. And we know Otsuka is another guy who we know also just recently took over Jigen's voice in the Lupin franchise. So he's getting pretty busy then there too. Yuzuru Tachikawa, who directed the previous two seasons of the anime, will move up to executive director, while Skate the Infinity's Takahiro Hatsui will take their place as season 3's director. Mob Psycho 100 is the second hit manga to come from One, the Eisner Award nominated creator of One Punch Man. One's manga was released digitally from 2012 to 2017 and was also compiled into 16 print volumes by publisher Shogakukan. The series earned favorable comparisons to One's previous work and has received widespread critical acclaim, with the print editions of the series achieving circulation of over 1.5 million copies. The series was adapted into an anime by Eureka 7 and My Hero Academia studio Bones in 2016, which was similarly well received. Following the conclusion of the manga's publication in 2017, One began a spin off series based around the character of Reagan in 2018. The series tells the story of Shigeo Kageyama, better known under the nickname Mob, a middle school age boy who would be pretty forgettable outside of one trait. He is an incredibly powerful psychic and has to keep his emotions in check at all times to keep his powers under control. Mob eventually becomes the protege to the con man, Reagan, who says he is a psychic himself and can help the boy learn how to control his powers. However, other psychics learn of Mob and his abilities, and as trouble starts to find the young boy, he has an increasingly difficult time keeping his emotions and his power contained. In addition to the anime, Mob Psycho 100 was adapted into a 12-episode live-action series in 2018, which starred Hananochi Hare's Tatsuomi Hamada as Mob. The live-action adaptation is available for streaming in certain territories outside of Japan on Netflix. The Mob Psycho 100 anime is available for streaming on Crunchyroll, HBO Max. The manga is localized into English and distributed in North America by Dark Horse Comics. All right, so there's that one. So we'll get ready to move on to the next one here, next article here. So we're going to probably start going through these a little quicker because I know we're already hour 15 here. So Here's the next article we're going to look at. Demon Slayer Season 2 release schedule delayed by Japanese election. Coverage of the upcoming Japanese elections will push back the release of further episodes of in the Mugen Train arc by 1 week. Article by Michael Cerna, published 12 hours ago. There's one of the Hashirama right there, the fire one. The release of episode 4 of Demon Slayer's second season and all of the remaining episodes in the Mugen Train arc following it will be delayed due to the coverage of the upcoming Japanese House of Representative elections. The delay was announced on the official Japanese Demon Slayer Twitter account. Episode 3 of the new season will still air on October 24th, but the following episode will now be delayed until November 7th in order to allow Japanese TV networks to cover the country's upcoming elections. Consequently, all further episodes in the Mugen Train arc will also have their release dates pushed back by a week as well. Well, of course, because you push one back, you're going to push the others back as well, especially if you're, if you weren't planning on any breaks in there anyways. So, if, that makes sense, obviously. Let's see. The delay will apparently not affect the release of the Entertainment District arc, which is still scheduled to begin on December 5th, with a special hour-long episode. Both Funimation and Crunchyroll are simulcasting the new season to international audiences as episodes air in Japan. Fans are still waiting to see how long the season of the popular shonen anime will last, as a recent listing on a Chinese streaming site suggested that season 2 will only be 18 episodes long, and compared to the original season's 26 episodes, coupled with the fact that 6 of the new season's episodes are a retelling of the 2020 Mugen Train arc. So 18 plus 6, if the 6 are not included in those 18, then that adds up to 24 episodes. Some fans are disappointed that the season may be so short that almost a third of it will be made of previously seen footage. Mm-hmm. The first episode of Demon Slayer's second season was released on October 10th, which was probably a week ago this past Sunday. Told an original story that showed how the flame Hashira Kyojuro Rengoku made his way onto the demon-controlled Mugen Train. The following 6 episodes will mostly be made of footage recut from the movie, though the producers of the show have revealed that the TV version of the arc will incorporate about 70 newly animated scenes. Following the conclusion of that arc, the entirely brand new Entertainment District arc will begin with a half hour with an hour long first episode. This part of the anime will adapt one of the most highly regarded story arcs from Koyo Haru Gotoge's original manga. The arc tells the story of the sound Hashira Tengen Uzui, who enlists the help of Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Nezuko while he investigates a series of possible demon-related disappearances within a city's red light district. New clips of both arcs of Season 2 were recently previewed at Funimation's panel for the franchise at this year's New York Comic Con. There we go. All right, let's see where we're at now. I'm halfway into Demon Slayer, and it's pretty damn good. So I'm pretty sure by the time I get to finishing it, season 2 will be. Yeah, they'll start showing it here in the states. Be interesting when Funimation or when it will show up on Toonami as well. So, anyways, moving on to the next article here. How many more we got? Because I know we're at the hour and 20-minute mark. So, one, two. So, got 2 more articles here that I was going to cover. So, yeah. So, the Chris Ayres article just replaced one of the other articles I was going to do. So, here we go. Here we go with this next one here. Wow, now it's saying I've only got one person viewing it. Leto, you didn't take off on me, did you? StreamYard just okay. Now we're back up to 2 people watching. Yeah, actually, Leto, as long as it's just you and I in here, I want to give you a heads up on something. I had been thinking possibly about moving. Yeah, I left. I'm not here. All right. Well, I know you're back now, but anyways, Leto, give you a heads up on something. I've been thinking about moving the show up an hour. Basically, instead of starting at 7, 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern, which is like 9 Central, starting at 6 Pacific, 8 Central, 9 Eastern. How do you feel about it? Most of you have been generally supportive of it. At this point, I'm thinking about doing it just in part to one, see if I can see if it helps in drawing more people in, and also with kind of how some of the guys tend to slumber off towards the end. Figure maybe make it a little earlier. But just out of curiosity, how would you feel if I started an hour earlier? Um, yeah, earlier. That's what I'm talking about. Moving it up an hour earlier. Like like where it starts for you right now, it would be start. It's right now for you. It's starting at like I think 9 o'clock Central. It'd be starting at 8 your time, 6 my time. So I just wanted to get. I've talked to some of the other guys that they are supportive of the idea if I do decide to do it. So I was just wondering. I just wanted to get your take on it. I know, like particularly latter parts of the week, sometimes you don't get into like you know to like hour into the show though. So I wouldn't be able to catch them on Wednesday through Fridays then, since that's the hours I sleep before I go to work. Yeah, I figured as much. I mean, I haven't decided if I'm actually going to do it, but I figured I'd give you a heads up on that. Anyways, I might be doing it. Um, at this point, the things that are driving it are I'm just thinking. Partly, I know like some of the guys, considering that a lot of us are a little bit older, I know a lot of guys tend to start falling asleep, towards the end of the show and start wandering off. So that's one thing. But also, I feel that, maybe if I do start an hour earlier, maybe I can catch more of the people coming over from like RJ streams. So that's why I'm considering it at this point. You can still do it, my friend. I'd watch it, just not live. Yeah, and I'd know I'd miss you too. Uh, Again, I haven't actually made up my mind yet if I'm going to do it, but you'll know soon enough. But I wanted to give you a heads up on that. But I will always be here on Monday and Tuesday unless circumstances. Yeah, that's understandable. But thank you, Leto. All right. So, anyway, so let's get. We got two more articles to get through. Better get them pretty quick because we're just past the hour 25 mark already. All right. So here's the next article we'll look at. New Sword Art Online progressive trailers celebrate movie's international release. Sword Art Online, the movie progressive aria of a starless night, releases two new trailers commemorate the movie's. I guess that's to commemorate the movie's impending international launch. Article by Michael Lacerna, published 10 hours ago. Not one, but two new Sword Art Online, the movie progressive aria of a starless night trailers have been released. The trailers arrive alongside the announcement that the movie will eventually be released theatrically in over 40 countries across the world. That count includes Aniplex and Funimation's previously announced plans to give the movie a limited theatrical run in the United States and Canada on December 3rd, with a release to the United Kingdom, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, and select Latin America countries happening at a later date. Of course, Japan will still get the movie first, as a retelling of SAO's opening chapters will premiere in the country on October 30th. A limited amount of collectible postcards, which feature new art of Kirito, Asuna, and newcomer Mito, will be given out to anyone who buys a ticket in the region. There are the Aria of a Starless Night is a retelling of the opening parts of the Sword Art Online series, but it now presents the events from through the perspective of Asuna, the series' main heroine, as opposed to Kirito, who the perspective was in the series. The movie will also introduce a new character to the series, Mitsumi Tozawa, who is known by the screen name Mito. Within the world of the show's virtual MMORPG, basically multimedia online role playing game, Tozawa is Asuna's classmate in real life and is the friend who introduces her to the eponymous game, and that they eventually become trapped within. Sword Art Online, of course, shades of the Dot Hack project as well. Um, when the game prevents anyone from logging, and another one, Log Horizon's another one like that too. Um, when the game prevents anyone from logging out and starts killing its players, Mito blames herself for the danger that Asuna is now in and dedicates herself to protecting her friend. Many of the voice actors from the original anime will reprise their roles for the movie. Asuna's original voice actor, Haruka Tomatsu, and Yoshitsugu Matsuoka will reprise the role of Kirito. Aria of a Starless Night is directed by Ayako Kono, who previously worked on several other big anime franchises such as Seven Deadly Sins, the movie, the anime adaptation of Tide Kubo's Bleach. Yuki Kajiura, a veteran anime and video game composer who previously worked on Sword Art Online TV series, as well as Demon Slayer and Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles, will also return to compose new music for the movie. Pop star Lisa, who is best known for singing Demon Slayer's original theme song, Gurenge, will also perform a new song for the movie entitled Yuke. The original Sword Art Online anime and its Gun Gale spin-off series are available for streaming on Funimation, Crunchyroll, Hulu, and Netflix. So there we go. Now we have one more story to get through. Let me just... Yes. Anyways, wow. I guess back on Woody must have been tired tonight or something like that. Haven't even shown up yet. Ah, and I didn't get a chance to promote anything on like Critical Blast. I got started late on getting everything prepared. So kind of a slower night. And with everything else going on, I was thinking about talking a little bit about Ron Toye as Nick. I don't know if you were watching Nick's stream last night, Leto, but apparently Ron's at his garbage again. It happens. We can't always be on. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I know. In life in general, there's always ebbs and flows. I get that. So horror manga is not quite as plentiful as other genres. And okay, 5 severely underrated horror manga for Halloween. Horror manga is not quite as plentiful as other genres, and as a result, there are some underrated scary gems that are often overlooked. Article by Dallas Marshall, published 7 hours ago. So this is going to be the warning. The following article contains discussion of suicide and self-harm. Okay. Yeah, they now have to say that. Okay. Horror is not the most influential genre in the world of manga. There are popular manga with horror elements, such as Berserk or High School of the Dead, but it is not as common to find a manga where the sole purpose of reading is to bring an unsettling sense of fear. For every horror series that comes out, there's a plethora of shonen action manga or slapstick comedies that dominate the market, which is true. Yeah, that's quite true. Within the minor genre of horror manga, some gems do not receive much attention. Halloween is a time for all things scary, so while the jack-o'-lanterns are out on the porch, the trick-or-treaters knock on doors, manga fans can also celebrate the scary season. Here are 5 horror manga that are severely underrated. Pet Shop of Horrors. So there's a manga version of that, huh? Running from 1995 to 1998, Pet Shop of Horrors revolves around the enigmatic Count D, who runs a pet shop in Los Angeles, Chinatown. Unlike any other pet shop, the animals sold there are rare and not of this world, and owning one comes with a unique set of rules. However, the one constant rule between all the pets is that the owner must never show their pet to anyone else. Breaking the rules comes with dire and disturbing consequences for which Count D claims no responsibility. Pet Shop of Horrors is a great entry point for readers who want to get into horror manga because of its episodic nature. Each chilling tale exhibits a different human character paired with a pet and can be read as a standalone tale, allowing for an easy to pick up manga if the reader wants a quick scare. It features an atmospheric and suspenseful tale filled with beautiful art mysterious pretty boys, and lots of supernatural suspense that deserves more readers. The English translation of Pet Shop of Horrors has been out of print for a while, so finding a copy can be tricky. Amazon has used copies of every volume for about $30 to $40 a piece. Gomu, A Child's Dream. Gomu, A Child's Dream was released in 1983 by Katsuhiro Otomo and revolves around the character of a senior citizen who lives in an apartment complex with a rash of suicides and mysterious events. It's revealed that he is the perpetrator of such crimes and that he has psychic powers. His reign of terror is brought to a halt when a little girl, also with psychic abilities, moves into the complex, and the two of them battle it out in urban psychic warfare. Oh boy, that sounds interesting. That sounds like very much sounds like one that could be a very interesting anime if they were to adapt it into an anime. Otomo explored the ramifications of psychic powers with Domu, A Child's Dream. Um, and his ubiquitous attention to detail is present. The setting of the apartment. Excuse me a moment. I'm gonna go off camera for a quick sec. I'll be right back. All right. Anyways, getting back to the story here. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see where we're. Oh yeah, the setting of the apartment building has an oppressive ambiance, which makes the world feel claustrophobic. Um, like there is no escaping its clutches. Character designs have a disturbing realism, especially with the main antagonist um, sporting sporting a creepy expression on his face throughout most of the manga. His senile and childlike mind mixed with destructive power makes him predatory but playful. A perfect villain for a horror manga. Domu, A Child's Dream, is expensive to buy, with Amazon having used copies ranging around $140. It sounds like one that could actually be a very good. That one sounds like it could be a very good anime if they were to adapt it. Litchi Light Club. Let's see what this one's about. Released in 2011, Litchi Light Club involves a group of 9 middle school boys who form a secret society called the Light Club and build a robot in secret. This robot will capture beautiful girls and lash out at the quote unquote ugly adults who control them. Oh boy. Ah, oh boy. That sounds interesting. Their leader, a charismatic boy named Zera, becomes more depraved as the story goes on, and soon the robot they create rebels against them when it befriends a captured girl. Wonder what they're doing with the girl. Bitchy Light Club is about boyhood fantasies taking a dangerous turn and acts as a cautionary tale against totalitarianism. Seeing middle school kids adopt a Third Reich style miniature government is scary enough. But couple that with the vulgar beauty of the artwork and the gloomy backdrops, and the reader um, is in for for intense work of horror. Litchi Light Club is gory and disturbingly perverse, but its message of obsession with youth and beauty, as well as the corruption of power, makes it a timely piece. For those who dare to delve into its darkness, it's available for purchase at Right Stuff Anime or less than. Another one that kind of sounds like might make for a good anime, even though it does sound a little graphic. But it sounds like a one that could sounds like an anime that adults, older teens and adults could probably get into. The Drifting Classroom. Oh, look at this, right? Whoa, that's horrific. The Drifting Classroom is Lord of the Flies meets a post apocalyptic survival story. The plot takes place in an elementary school that after this actually sounds similar to another anime that I've watched before. I didn't get through the whole thing, but I will go back to it at some point. Um, Out an earthquake and is suddenly transported to an otherworldly wasteland, with the adults in the school going insane and then committing suicide. The children are left behind to fend for themselves. Banding together for survival, the children must fight against mutated monsters and food shortages, as well as dissension and insanity within their ranks. Let's see. I think there's an anime called School Days that this may have been about. That this has a similar theme to this. The scariest thing about the classroom is seeing young children cope with such harrowing odds. There is underlying hopefulness in parts because of their drive to survive, along with the understanding of their unforgiving world. The Drifting Classroom is a coming of age story like no other, and it can be hard to take, but the ending makes it worth it. While underrated, the Drifting Classroom is readily available and can be bought um, on Right Stuff in a three hardcover omnibus. Blood of the Tracks. Want me gone? Do you? Blood on the Tracks. Released in 2011 by Shuzo Oshimi, the psychological horror manga Blood on the Tracks is an unsettling trip into madness and explores the darker side of a seemingly loving family. The story is about a middle school boy named Seiichi Osabe, who has a close and loving relationship with his mother. Everything in his life seems ordinary until one day Seiichi and his mother go on a hiking trip with other family members, and something horrible happens. Ever since that day, Seiichi's life has become a nightmare because of his mother. Rather than relying on gore or jump scares, Blood on the Tracks is concerned with building suspense and a sense of dread. Overprotective mothers are nothing new, but what happens when the maternal instinct of ensuring child safety is brought to a dangerous level. Blood on the Track asks this question and gives a terrifying, pulse-pounding answer. The current 8 volumes of Blood on the Tracks can be found on Right Stuff for $10 each. And this is something that I guess they have to do anytime they talk about suicide or self-harm here. This is added in there. For more information on the warning signs and prevention of suicide, click here. If you or someone you know is in emotional distress or considering suicide, call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK, 8255. If you live outside the U.S., click here for a list of international hotlines. All right. So there we go. So that's end of that story there. Let me see. Let me see. I didn't catch it. I catched it on the replays while working on some writing. Yeah, I watched the replay too. I didn't watch it during the half. I don't write. I was just writing jokes for fun about loud. Yeah. All right. So, anyways, I want to check something real quick. See. Oh wow! Chris Ayers wasn't the only voice actor who died. Jack Angel passed away. He was known for a lot of stuff throughout the 70s and 80s. Veteran multi-decade performing artist known for his Disney and Transformers roles and over 100 behind the voice actor credits, has passed away. Wow. We'll probably have to look more into that tomorrow. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to find something real quick, but not even, not really. I just happened upon that story about Jack Angel right there. School Live. That's the one I was thinking of. That's the School Live. That was the story I was thinking of. That drifting classroom manga reminded me of. School Live is the name of that. Yeah, but to reiterate, and I'll talk a little bit more about him tomorrow night as we're towards the end of the show here. Yeah, apparently Jack Angel passed away, a longtime voice actor as well. So we'll probably talk more about that tomorrow night. Anyway, wow, we're at an hour 50 minutes. Wow. All right, well, I'm going to start wrapping up here. Leto, I guess you and I were the only ones who were here throughout the entire night here, more or less. Toys, I know, was on earlier. So why don't we go ahead and take a look back at this day in Nietzsche history? Day being Tuesday, October 19th, 2021. Let's go ahead and take a look back at this day in Nietzsche history if you're ready for it, Leto. Are you ready for this day in Nietzsche history? All right, so without any further ado, then let's take a look back on this day in Nietzsche history, then. And our first stop tonight, we're going to go back to 1981, as on this date in 1981, um, during a controversial finish of the Bob Backlund Greg Valentine match at New York City's Madison Square Garden, and this was for at the time, the WWF World Heavyweight Championship at the time, or the WWF Heavyweight Championship at the time. Referee John Stanley mistakenly hands the WWF Heavyweight Championship belt to Greg Valentine, raises his hand in victory, even though Backlund had just pinned Valentine. The finish saw Backlund pin Valentine in a fireman's carry to perform an airplane spin. Stanley got in the way and got knocked down. Both men were wearing black trunks, and it was later explained that Stanley was confused as to who was who. The decision was thrown out, and for the New York market only, the WWF Heavyweight Championship was vacated to be filled by a rematch in November between Backlund and Valentine, which Backlund won. So, what they mean by market, of course, at that time, the WWF was still a territory of the NWA. And so the majority of their shows, it was still about a year or two before Vince Jr. bought out his father. Okay. Um, so they were operating primarily out of so only in the Northeast was the title vacated. In other areas, like in Pennsylvania and the New England area, Backlund was still defending the WWF World Heavyweight Championship and was still being promoted as being champion. So, all right. So, anyways, with that being said, then let's move on to the next piece of Nietzsche history here. As our next stop is going to be 1996. On this date in 1996, the Canadian American animated series produced by actor comedian Damon Wayans premiered on Kids WB Waynehead. Waynehead, the Canadian American animated television series produced by actor comedian Damon Wayans, premiered on this date back in 1996, which was 25 years ago today. So there we go with that one, and then finally, one last stop to do. as on this date 10 years ago today, the 195th issue of Betty and Veronica Double Digest went on sale on this date back in 2011, 10 years ago today. So the 195th issue of Betty and Veronica's Double Digest went on sale on this date 10 years ago today, back in 2011. So there you go, guys. That's it for this day in each history. We're pretty much done. We're at the hour and 55-minute mark here. So a reminder, don't forget this Friday. This week I'll be joined by special guest co-host RJ Carter of Critical Blast, as he'll be filling in for Batco, who is taking the week off to go celebrate a friend's retirement. But this week RJ has volunteered or asked RJ to fill in for him, so he'll be with me. We do the historical comic retrospect on Friday when we cover quality comics, specifically Feature Funnies number 10, which went on sale in June of 1938. So with that, guys, I thank everybody for being here. I thank you guys for all the likes and shares. I hope to see you all back here tomorrow. So, and I'm glad you all came here. Hopefully I'll see you all tomorrow. All right, then. Bye.